Hello. Let me ask you a question. Give it some thought. Let it ruminate. Do you remember your first conversation about race? When I was about 7, I came home from school and shared a joke with my dad. The punchline was a racist slur. I didn't even know what it meant. Instead of laughing, my dad sat me down and asked me if I knew what I had just said. This was my first conversation about race. I was inspired to speak with you, to open up a dialogue, after I read Claudia Rankine's book, Just Us, An American Conversation. I'd also watched Anna Deavere Smith's play, Twilight Los Angeles, and heard her discussions of race. With a 20-year difference, the conversations are still the same. White people are not talking about race. I have experienced many cultures, and as an adult, my life is a recipe of those cultural influences. Now, as I live within the United States, I can see stark contrasts of race and the ignorance towards other cultures. It's like people are almost afraid to discuss it. So I am here with you today to open the conversation. Identity. It's a psychic sense of place. It's a way of knowing I'm not that rock or that tree. I'm this other living creature over here. And it's a way of knowing that no matter where I put myself, that I am not necessarily what's around me. I am part of my surroundings, and I become separate from them. And it's being able to make those differentiations clearly that lets us have an identity. I have only lived as me. It's hard to exist and also accept my lack of existence. Over the years, I had come to realize that I often did not share historical knowledge with the persons to whom I was speaking. I needed to slowly unpack and understand how whiteness was created. The running comment in our current political climate is that we all need to converse with people we don't normally speak to. These phrases, white fragility, white defensiveness, white appropriation, have been a habit of standing in for the complicated mess of a true conversation. I wanted to enact a new narrative that included the whiteness of a man who had stepped in front of me. I felt his whiteness should be a component of what we both understood about him, even as his whiteness would not be the entirety of who he is. His unconscious understanding of whiteness meant the space I inhabited should have been only his. Full comprehension would include the understanding that white privilege comes with expectations of protection and preferences, no matter where he lives in the country. He says the Asians are flooding the Ivy Leagues, and it's tough when you can't play the diversity card. A white supremacist orientation is packaged as universal thinking and objective seeing, which insists on the erasure of anything who disrupts its reflection. My actual presence, my humanity. He says I don't see colour. Are you able to move in and out of public spaces without being questioned as to why you were there? I asked. Aren't you a white man? Can't you see that? Because if you can't see race, you can't see racism. Everything that's ever happened to us, as well as our responses to it, because we might be alone in a trance state, someplace like the desert, and we begin to feel as though we are part of the desert, which we are right at that minute, but we are not the desert. White people rely on these benefits, so much so that their expectations inform the interpretation of our laws. What is offensive? Is it simply because I am? or because you are? Am I in your way? That you step in my way? Do I know you? Can I know you? We are part of the desert, and when we go home, we take with us that part of the desert that the desert gave us. But we're still not the desert. A force within the whiteness is forcing the whiteness. Universalized whiteness, that racial imaginary, lives in every moment. My friend says the gravitational force of an origin story is difficult to get over. There is no outrunning the kingdom, the power, the glory. What is the feeling that pulls, that is pulling, that pulls it out? What sensation uncivilized the utterance? What dragged us, just us here? What is the justice wanted? Then the black person is asked to leave, to vacate, to prove, to validate, to confirm, to authorize, to legalize their right to be in the air, in here. And you don't know what you're giving if you don't know what you have. And you don't know what you're taking if you don't know what's yours and what somebody else's. A whole world of thought and emotion can be made through art to live and accrue new meanings in just one person's mind and body. I was always aware that my value in our culture's eyes is determined by my skin colour first. This is also true for the white men around me. Would I come to understand white privilege any differently? They couldn't know what it was like to be me, though who I am is in part a response to who they are. Would you be bringing up diversity if you didn't see colour? And just like that, we broke open our conversation. Random, ordinary, exhausting, and full of longing to exist in some image of a less segregated space.